Welcome back to another Roddy's Reviews. It's been a long time since I've done a video of this version of this kind. So a lot of my content lately has been a lot of reaction content, but I want to get back in the review bag. Definitely start talking about some movies again. Start giving my takes on a few movies. So today, as you guys seen in the thumbnail of the title of the movie, title of the video, you know what we're talking about Joker 2, Joker Folie. I hope I said that right. That sounded fire. I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been trying to pronounce that shit the last 2 hours. Folie. Well, you better stop playing with me. Yeah, we're talking about Joker 2 today. So I just finished it. Like, I'm talking like I was literally putting my camera together, getting the tripod together, the ring light, everything put together as I was finishing the movie. So to start off, I'm gonna say Joaquin Phoenix's back has to hurt from carrying this fucking movie. I'm gonna say that first off. His back has to fucking hurt from carrying this goddamn movie. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Because the best parts of this movie were a lot of his acting and his performance. His performance was 10. His performance was just as, in my personal opinion, the performance was just as good as the first one, but the story did not match up with what we were seeing. So, what that means to me, another point in the movie also is that, not that Lady Gaga's performance was bad, I just don't think that it fit. Personally, I don't think it fit. I don't think she fit the role of Harley, and I don't think she fit the role of the Harley they were trying to portray. It's a different version of Harley than what a lot of people are used to. It's a different version of Harley that we've seen between comics, animated, and live action. It's very different. So we're picking up from kind of where the first one left off. We're seeing Arthur in prison now. He's been arrested for all the murders he committed in the first one. So a lot of this movie is basically set in prison and the courtroom. Those are a lot of the places where this movie takes place, is prison and the courtroom. Because a lot of this is going to be pretty much the trial of Arthur, seeing what happens to him pretty much. His lawyer is trying to portray that he has a split personality. And that is shown at the beginning of the movie because they have an animated Warner Brothers, kind of like a Looney Tune-esque start to the movie, where it kind of shows, you know, he's putting the face paint on, getting ready to go out to Murray's show. But there's another thing, like a shadow that comes up, takes over, pushes him to the side, and does everything. And then when the cops are coming, that other thing switches back to Arthur. So kind of showing that there is a split personality, or that they want to portray it as such. That's a huge point of the movie, is that there is the split personality. That's a massive part of the movie. Also, another part of the movie that I wanted to talk about also was that when I first heard this movie was announced, they said it was going to be a musical. And it didn't sit well with me. I'm like, this isn't going to make a lot of sense. A musical for this movie, the way the first one went, doesn't make a lot of sense. It makes sense now. Stay with me. It makes sense now. And I say that because the reason it makes sense is because the way him and Harley met, the way Arthur and Harley met, was through a group they had in prison that they used music to calm them down. So, all the musical performances we see throughout the movie is Arthur's mind working. Music is how I won't say it's how he gets through it, but music is how, is what's going on in his head. A lot of singing's going on in his head. A lot of different scenarios portrays, a lot of different things are going on in his head, and we see those broken down into different musical performances. And the introduction of Lee, which is what they called her. Her name is Harley, but they called her Lee. The introduction of Lee kind of helps turn that switch on for him, so we see a lot of that as well. As the movie progresses, we see them get very close and come to find out that she is not even in prison for real. She's not even in, Arkham Asylum. Like, she's not in the hospital at all. She checked herself in, and she can leave whenever she wants. Her dad's rich. Him, on the other hand, he's supposed to be there. He's arrested. He's in prison. She, on the other hand, can leave whenever she wants. She went there to meet him because everything happened in the first one. Her mind's working, and she wants to see what's going on with him. So as they get closer, his lawyer is like, yo, you need to watch out. She's not who you think she is. She's not here for you. She has not an ulterior motive, but she's a bad influence on you. And the whole time he's like, are you really? Are you really though? that whole thing. The relationship is very odd, and they had this awkward sex scene in the movie that it's kind of uncomfortable to watch, if I'm being real with you. Like when it came up, I kind of took my phone. I was like, all right, that's enough. I was like, all right, we're pushing the envelope here a little bit far. And you know, the whole movie is pretty much still pushing towards the courtroom, still trying to show the trial. And a key point in the part is when Arthur's sitting in the courtroom and he's having one of his scenarios going on in his head, and he stops. He's like, I can't do this anymore. So he pops up and he says, yo, judge. He didn't say it like that. I'm just giving a, you know what I mean? I'm paraphrasing. He's like, judge, I want to represent myself. Lawyer, you're fired. No. And the judge is like, are you sure you want to do this? He's like, yes, I want to represent myself. Judge is like, all right, I can't deny you that, so go ahead. Lawyer got fired. And some of his scenarios, ever since his lawyer told him about Lee, a lot of his scenarios had Lee pointing a gun at him and killing him. It happened twice, I believe. Yeah, I believe it happened twice. I think it happened twice. Mind you, the movie's like almost 2.5 hours long, so I'm still trying to remember everything that happened. It happened twice, I believe. Two of his scenarios in his head had Lee killing him. So, as we keep going, he is now representing himself. And I know I'm jumping around a lot in the movie. I'm trying to give you guys a whole rundown, a quick rundown of the movie. I'm not gonna be able to break everything down in 2.5 hours. I can't do that. So he's pretty much, you know, defending himself, making his case, and eventually when the prosecutor settles and the defense settles, he sits there. He's like, all right, the judge is like, Arthur, do you have anything else to say? He pulls a stool up, he sits there, and he's like, I can't do this anymore. There is no Joker, it's just me. I killed 6 people, including my mother. And everyone's like, well, a lot of his supporters in the back, because mind you, if you've seen the first one, you know how many supporters he had. A lot of his supporters were like, are you fucking for real? Everyone's like, are you serious? So he pops up, he's like, well, he didn't pop, he sat there, he's like, there's no Joker. So Lee, who has been in his corner the whole time, she looked at him, she stood up, walked out the room. She left. And after that, it's just kind of like, well, damn, all right. So he kind of pulled back a little bit, he sat down, and as they were about to call for the verdict, during their recess, he called her on the phone, didn't hear anything from her. So he went back in there, and as they were calling out the verdict, they got through 2 counts of murder, guilty, until the prison blew up. Well, not the prison, the courthouse. A part of the courthouse blew up. And tell you right now, they never said who did it. They never said who blew it up. They never said anything. It blew. The side of it blew up. Arthur gets up. He walks out. 2 of his supporters pick him up. They're trying to leave with him, but Arthur jumps out the car. He starts running, and he ends up back on the same steps we seen him at the iconic steps. The iconic steps. He stepped down in the first one. Those steps are fire. He went back there. He seen Lee sitting out there. He's like, "Yo, we can be together. You know, the courthouse got blown up. I'm free. We can be together." She's like, "No, I don't want to be with you." And he's like, "What are you talking about? Why don't you want to be with me?" And she's like, "There's no Joker. Remember? You're not the man I thought you was." Showing she wasn't in love with Arthur, she was in love with Joker, the idea of Joker. Kind of fucked up in my opinion. Kind of fucked up. So he's like, bro, what the fuck? So then cops come, pick him up, take him away. He's sitting in jail. This guy, one of the CEOs is like, hey, you got a visitor. He's like, all right. So he gets up, he starts walking. He gets into this hallway. And one of the other inmates is like, hey, can I tell you a joke? And he's like, all right, blah, 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 does this, and this. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember how his joke exactly went. But he's like, all right, well, you know, and the punchline was, you get what you fucking deserve. And exactly remember what happened to Murray. The inmate said to Arthur, you get what you fucking deserve. And he shanked him like 5 times. Just shanked him. And Arthur fell down. He had another scenario in his head of him, of singing to Lee. And he just sat there and, yeah, he died. That was the end of the movie. Arthur dies. Which is honestly crazy because I didn't expect him to die at the end. If I'm being real with you, I did not expect him to die. So now that I've gotten through most of the plot of I got through the important parts of the movie, the ones that really impacted the most. So now I'm getting to the review part because I kind of gave you the recap. The review part, I feel like this movie was showing a transition of Arthur's character, because in the beginning we seen him he was very quiet and reserved in the first few minutes of the movie. He wasn't saying much, but that's because he was on medication. Come to find out. And as the movie progresses, he meets Lee, he gets off the medication, he starts getting it back into the Joker persona, so say. And as the end of the movie comes, I also forgot a key part. During the time he was representing himself, he said something about the correctional officers in the Arkham prison that he was in. Well, when he gets back to the prison, they actually take him, they don't beat him up, but they rough him up. Because he's been getting a lot of the inmates riled up in there because they supported him so much. He's been getting them riled up. So one of them, Ricky, who was actually like, I guess you could borderline say his best friend, I'm not sure if you want to call him that, was supportive of him, and he started singing. Well, the COs opened the door, took him, and one of them gagged him to try to shut him up, and it ended up killing him, which is what effectively caused him, it caused Arthur to say there is no Joker. I think that's kind of what set it in motion. So we've seen him go from low to high to low again. A lot of his character, and the music aspect of things makes sense as you're watching the movie because it shows a lot of what's going on in his head and how he copes. There's those things as well. I feel like there's a lot of layers to this movie. Even I didn't get them all watching it that first time. There's a lot of layers to this movie. Like I said, the biggest points is Joaquin Phoenix's performance. Lady Gaga's voice is amazing. She can sing her ass off, bro. I don't want to hear nobody say it. She can sing her ass off. I will say a lot of the music was not good. A lot of the singing was kind of awkward, if I'm being honest. There was one song, though, I'll tell you. I don't remember the name. It says, Gotta Be, what's it called? Gotta Be a Mountain? I looked it up on Apple Music. I'm not sure which one it was. That song was fire. And I will say that because it started with like a very church gospel-y feel to it. And then it turned into like this big band vibe. And then it ended with him tap dancing. Nah, that part was hard. I ain't gonna lie to you. That part was fire. But yeah, that's pretty much my overall feel of the movie. Would I watch it again? No. In my opinion, this was not a bad movie, but it was not a great movie. Do I feel like this was needed? A sequel was needed, yes. I was not a fan of the story, just because, like, I feel like... I'm trying to word it the right way. It's not that the movie, like I said, the movie wasn't bad. I just feel like the story could have been written so differently than what it was. And I feel like there were so many different ways it could have went than the route they did go. Now, could they have made a third one out of this? Maybe. Maybe, because at another point in the movie, Lee did say she was pregnant. How true that is, I don't know. She did say she was pregnant. They could bring a third movie into the fold, kind of showing the aftermath of Arthur's death. Kind of showing how that shook the world up, how much waves was caused because of that. Anything. So like I said, was it a good movie? No. Was it a bad movie? No. Mid? Yes. It was a very mid movie. Compared to the first one, they're not even the same movie in my opinion. Joaquin Phoenix's performance, incredible though. That man is incredible. Didn't expect him to die at the end. Kind of a shocker. But overall, it is what it is, I guess. I can't really do much about it. I would probably rate this movie 5.5 out of 10. Probably 5.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it at parts, but as a whole, it wasn't the best movie. I probably wouldn't watch it again, if I'm being honest. I finished it and I kind of felt a sense of, not emptiness, but kind of like, I guess, kind of thing. You know, there's so many people when this came out, so many people drug it. I mean, drug the fuck out of it. I'm not dragging it. I'm just being very critical, and this is just my personal opinions. I know you guys might feel differently in the comment section. There's going to be somebody who watches this video and comments and says, dog, this movie was ass. I get it. I know. I 100% understand why you would say this movie's bad. I truly understand why you would think this movie is bad. I really, really do. I'm just a very different kind of person when I watch movies. I don't mind musicals. I enjoy them. You know, I watch this, you know, because, like, I'm not watching Joker for the superhero aspect of it, because it is linked with DC Comics. I'm not watching this for the superhero aspect of it. Like, in the first Joker, we got a glimpse of Bruce Wayne. In this one, we got a glimpse of Harvey Dent. So I'm not doing this for superhero value or superhero anything. I'm watching this for the story. Story, progression, and performance. That's what I'm watching it for. So, like I said, 5.5 out of 10. That's my personal preference. You drop down in the comment section where you guys drop down in the comment section how you what you thought of it, what your rating is, and go from there. Joker 2 is now streaming on Max if you guys want to go and watch it. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for coming through on this one. Until next time, it's your boy Roddy. I'm out. Deuces.